honest, it would be mostly likely worth it.
That was beautiful. That, you always come up with the best inspirational quotes.
Well, I want to be inspired. That's what
You
we
want
try
to
to
be
do. I
inspired,
want to
or
be-
are you inspiring?
Well, I don't know. My daughter doesn't think so.
I
My
think
daughter
you're
doesn't. You
inspiring.
think I am? She's 10 now, and I'm not the cool mom yet.
Well, you inspire me with that hairstyle today. Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes. I'm going to have to
New
get my
hair.
bangs on so I can look a little bit younger. But, we've got Miss Betsy Foster,
Yes.
our healthcare analyst
We sure do.
and political contributor in the building
In the
today.
building. Yes,
And
ma'am.
guess who else we have?
Who else do we have? in
We
here?
have Kentucky State Representative Mr. Charles Booker. He says that he can take out Mitch McConnell.
I think you can.
We.
Oh, I like
Oh,
that.
he said we. It wasn't your
Okay.
turn. It wasn't your
Okay.
turn.
It wasn't your
Representative
turn.
Booker. You just like, what happened there? You got passionate about that, didn't you? So you're just like, he's gonna take down Mitch McConnell. Hashtag ditch Mitch. You can say something. This is an interactive
Okay.
show, so you can just relax and be yourself because you're gonna probably be our next senator, right?
You got to speak those things and be not as though they were.
As though they
There you
were.
go.
All right.
There you
That's
go.
what.
It's Sunday.
And see, I don't know why that wasn't her quote today. Betsy Foster, what do you say about that?
I think absolutely.
Absolutely.
Put the words out there and they come back.
And they come back all the time. So, what we're going to do today, a little bit for us, is we're just going to talk a little bit about my favorite subject when I'm feeling down and out and I feel like the world is not treating me right. First, I pray, and then I talk about Trump.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I talk about Mitch McConnell.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Becomes therapeutic, doesn't
It does. Like, I'm going to buy me like one of those dolls with Mitch McConnell's face on it. And then that way I could just punch it when I feel upset or something. Just punch, 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 punch. No one was in the line at Walmart, so the cashiers, they only have like 2 lines open.
Yes.
Right? And because they only have 2 lines open and it's the first of the month or something, it's like the line goes to the back of the store. So I get really upset about that. So I could just go home and punch my Trump and Mitch McConnell doll. If you all could see me right now, I'm just like punching it. Punch, punch, punch. Right?
It's a beautiful sight.
But I have State Representative Charles Booker here, who's going to punch the lights out of Mitch McConnell, but in the right way. Not physically, but mentally. Correct?
In a lot of ways.
Oh,
In a lot of ways. And yeah, we're going to make sure that Kentucky's punch that ballot box.
That's
in
right.
2020 and
That's right.
take care of business. But yeah, we're going to build a movement.
So, when you say you're going to build a movement, what does that mean? Kind of explain to us what that means. I think I know what it means
Yeah.
because I'm so smart. But I just want to make sure that you're as smart as me.
Well, I don't think I'd ever be able to keep up with
Oh,
Uh,
I know you won't.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't even try. I'm going to just stay by your side.
Okay.
But for me, building a movement is inspiring folks across Kentucky to know their voice matters. I'm from the west end of Louisville. I've seen a lot of struggles growing up.
Wait a minute, West End to Best End.
All day long. And, for me, the stories that I've seen, the things I saw my mother go through, my family experience, those things are true across Kentucky, just overcoming obstacles, working multiple jobs to make ends meet, sacrificing every day in spite of folks like McConnell who are robbing and exploiting, demeaning us, ignoring us every step of the way. And for me, I know that change happens when we lock arms and stand together. That's the only way change has ever really happened in a big way, is when we push back regular folks saying that we're not going to keep accepting this corruption.
Mm-hmm.
And so the movement is us taking our power back, taking our voices back, and saying that our voices are what matter. Not these greedy politicians, these corrupt interests that see us as an afterthought or don't see us at all.
Well, we've got a lot of corruption going on
Yes, we do.
nowadays. And, Mitch McConnell, for some odd, unexplainable reason, he has like an immense amount of power in Washington. And I don't think that he represents our state very well. I don't think that he represents the American democracy very well. And you going to be the senator for Kentucky, right? Yay. How are you going to go to Washington and represent us? You've told us about how you grew up, what's very dear to your heart, what motivates you. But as far as getting to Washington, because let's just look ahead right now, okay? Let's say you already won. You know, we all wore our long gowns in Texas to the inauguration celebration for you. And now it's going to be Senator Charles Booker representing the state of Kentucky. When you get to Washington, what are some of the things that you're going to do and that you're going to be out on the trail talking about? But let's just say you already won. I want to know day 1 to day 10, what are you going to do?
Well, the first of all, the reason that I launched this exploratory and speaks to the point of what you would want to see in leadership in Washington is very central to why I got into politics to begin with. Democracy only works when the voices of those in the community are heard, when we're prioritized, when our dreams and our aspirations are accounted for in the government that we pay for. And so that is why I took the chance of jumping into the fire and being a state legislator, working in every level of government. And we need that in the U.S. Senate. Very simply because what we have in Kentucky for so many families, what we pass down for so many families across Kentucky is poverty. So many Kentuckians are struggling. But as I'll tell you again from the West End of Louisville, when you sit down with folks and ask them what their challenges and their needs are, what those solutions are, they can tell you. We know what's going on and we know how to move the path forward. We just don't get brought to the table. We get left out. And what I would want to see in any office, but certainly in this one, is an earnest partnership from the beginning. So that's why this exploratory is so important. I'm saying from the jump, I want your ideas to be what shape how we move this forward. Because we should not be looking to elect someone that has all the answers. That means they're not listening to us. We should be looking to lift folks up that are going to speak to us and see us and hear us. And what I know from being in the legislature this year and my work over the years is that Kentuckians are ready for change. And they want things to be dramatically different.
Yes.
Folks are tired of poverty.
Yes.
They're tired of being
We
sick.
want dramatic. What do you think about that, Betsy?
Absolutely.
Dramatic differences than what we've had. You know
Taking
what?
care of our people.
Absolutely.
Take care
An
of our
alligator alley cat would be better than Mitch McConnell.
And I think a lot of Kentuckians would agree with you there.
You know, we both worked for Andy Beshear.
people. Yes.
Okay,
we
with the
do.
Kentucky Democratic Party. I had to resign very quickly because my knee, I'm only 25, but I got bad knees. That knocking door to door, I loved it.
There's a lot of wear and tear.
Yeah, but I got to still wear my heels, right? So anyway, what I found out knocking door to door for the length of time that I did for the Andy Beshear campaign is that I found a lot of Republicans want Mitch McConnell out the door.
Oh, yeah.
They really, really do. They want him gone. They feel like he has not done anything for 30 years.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, and I go across Kentucky saying the most bipartisan statement I can say is Mitch McConnell is terrible. We all know that. He knows, we know.
Right.
Does he know he's terrible?
He knows it.
Oh,
We know that he
absolutely.
knows. He knows that we know. He doesn't care. Kentucky's a poker chip to him. And he's built this house of cards dynamic where he can hoard up his power. And I don't even think he could find Kentucky on the map at this point.
Who told you that you would probably be the one to beat Mitch McConnell? Who told you that? Besides
Look.
yourself, of course. But who said that to you and got the wheels rolling in your head like, you know what, I probably could beat him? Who was the first person that told you, you know what, Charles? If I may call you Charles.
You absolutely
okay, thank you.
can.
You know, Charles, I was thinking, you probably are the guy that could beat Mitch McConnell. Who told you that?
So it's funny. And when I share this, it always sort of hits me in the stomach. Mitch McConnell was elected 2 weeks after I was born. And
Definitely time for a change.
And so my entire life, this guy has essentially told us we don't matter with a straight face, looking directly at us saying, I don't care about you. And, I knew as a child that things didn't have to be the way they are. I was on food stamps and free lunch all through school. I saw my mom go without eating so that I could eat. Both my parents dropped out of high school to take care of the family, and I tell the story now. I'm a type 1 diabetic. I was diagnosed in school, in high school, and I've had to ration insulin. I've nearly died for diabetic ketoacidosis. My challenges, my story that I've seen in Kentuckians from corner to corner lets me know that we don't have to accept things this way. And that goes back to my foundation in faith and just knowing that we're more than conquerors. And I've seen things that were called impossible get moved out of the way. I know that we can do great things together. And so what tells me that this is the time is not simply my story, but Kentuckians. So you look at the teachers, for instance, that stood up all over the Commonwealth, came and shut the Capitol down.
Yes, they did.
I'm telling you, it meant so much to see just regular folks that sacrifice every day for our children say, you know what, my future's worth fighting for. So I'm going to go into this space even though they don't want me here, and I'm going to be heard. That lets me know that this is the moment. And I often talk about the miners in Harlan County that were protesting, and this is happening a lot across Kentucky because these coal companies are filing bankruptcy and shutting down, leaving folks high and dry. But these miners in Harlan County, I went and stood with them.
Yes.
They were on the tracks because the coal company had shut down, filed bankruptcy, and was essentially saying, we're not going to pay you, we're jumping ship, sorry for your luck. And these are folks like, this is my livelihood, this is all I have. You're robbing us blind, so we're going to stand on these tracks. Because if you think you're going to leave and just tell us we don't matter anymore, you're going to have to run us over first. So I went and stood on the tracks with them. And what I learned from them is they were saying all along, they knew things needed to change. They knew those coal jobs were leaving. They knew that the status quo was killing them. Mm-hmm. And so for me, this moment is acknowledging folks that have been yelling out, saying, hear me, and saying, I do hear you, and let's go ahead and do this thing together. So this time is our time.
I want to ask you, you got a question, Betsy?
I do have a question. So, Charles, that's one of the things that I've been wondering about. I know Louisville loves you, Lexington loves you, Paducah loves you, the Democrats love you. What about those in the rural areas?
I was
the
just,
farmers?
you know what, we are on
We're
the
just
same wavelength, because I was going to ask you that.
Yeah.
You are African American,
Yes.
for those that didn't know.
I am.
I know, but, they never know. We're all, like, mixed up with a whole lot of stuff.
We are.
Yeah, like, let's just be
Yeah,
honest
yeah,
here. Rural Kentucky,
Yes.
okay, is really red in more ways than one, okay? How, I tell the truth. I tell it like how it is.
That's why I love you.
Okay?
Never change.
They don't, vote for us. I can't even believe that Cameron dude, whatever his name is, that he got into office.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because I don't know how he got, because he was standing there with Trump or
Yeah.
something. Oh, hint your head. But anyway, how are you going to win those voters?
Well, I'll tell you.
Right?
Absolutely.
We don't surprise a whole lot of people. So I was the director of Fish and Wildlife, and I had to go.
That's rural.
I had to go all over Kentucky. I had to sit down in rooms with folks that didn't quite understand my life story, may have never sat down and had a conversation with someone quite like me. And what we'd always realize is we have so much in common. Mm-hmm. And I think where folks will be surprised, unfortunately folks will be surprised, is because they haven't sat down and talked to one another. My role, my various roles, not only as Fish and Wildlife, but as an analyst for the Legislative Research Commission. I work with the statewide project to scale up local food production. So I'm talking to farmers, producers all over Kentucky, is that when you see and hear someone, when you show them that they matter, you can build a relationship with them.
That's true.
And that's how I was able to pass bipartisan
Absolutely.
legislation in my first term. So
Relationships, that's what it's all about.
Is
You're
it's
right.
it's not that it's rocket science.
Right.
It's just that folks in leadership have forgotten how important it is because it's become about them. And so, the stories of my parents working multiple jobs, nobody's looking for handouts. We're trying to survive. They understand what that means.
Mm-hmm.
Having family that have suffered from opioid addiction, folks across
Yes.
Kentucky know what that means. And so when you talk to them like you see them, give them a chance to be heard, you can build relationships even if you don't agree on everything.
Well, another thing is we've got this opioid addiction thingy-majiggy going on, and it's very, very serious.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? There is even more of a heroin problem.
Oh, yeah.
that needs to be addressed. We only hear about, the opioid